The Umbrella Corporation. Our business is life itself. This podcast episode is brought to you by nothing.
Try it for free.
So let me tell you what happened with Sofia's podcast. I'll just let the video play while I tell you this stuff. This is the second time that she's been in town from Wyoming. And the first time we did a podcast episode, it was great, except I made a mistake with the video. That was my fault. And this time we had another great podcast episode and I got the video, but the power went out because the electric company where I live was working on the power lines outside, and it shut us off a little over an hour into the podcast. I record the video and the audio separately, so I went to the audio recording device after Sofia left. She hung out for a little while, but the power didn't come back on. And when I went to go look at the file, apparently the file didn't close correctly because it said 0 kilobytes. I looked online to try to figure out how to recover the data from that file because I knew that it was just reading 0 kilobytes and that the data was actually in the file. But I couldn't figure out how to do it. I'm sure you hear the kids in the background. I'm sure if I didn't have a toddler and a newborn, I could spend all day trying to figure it out, but I can't. It's unfortunate. Because you really should meet Sofia. She's probably the most athletic woman that I know. And maybe, well, actually one of the most athletic people that I know. And she's been a cellist with symphonies since the age of 11. And during this podcast, I learned that when she was born and raised in Brazil, of course, I learned that she was raised by a Jewish father who was a communist, and he went to meetings and this kind of thing. And he gave his children Marxist literature to read. Basically, her dad was Che Guevara. No, not really. It's probably not a good comparison. But she shared that with me. Also she shared many other things. She went through a divorce and she's going through still some litigation with that. Her ex-husband is, well, let's not talk about that. And we talked some about her nursing career, and we talked about raising children and her moving from Brazil to Boston to maybe somewhere else, to Jacksonville. Anyhow, it sucks that I can't get the audio back. Thanks, JEA. Thank you to my power company. Can you guys not charge me for my bill next month? That would be great. So since I'm here, I may as well just rant a little bit to you about my experiences shopping lately. I'm not somebody who shops often. I don't shop very much. I'm not a buyer. Ask my wife. It's like the Amazon boxes don't come to my house hardly ever. The UPS truck, the FedEx truck, they don't know where I live. But I went to a popular music store, musical instrument store recently, and I learned that they sell a bunch of crappy stuff. They sell some good stuff too, but they will sell you a bunch of crappy stuff, like if you want a preamp or if you want a keyboard or if you want a guitar. I don't know why they carry these things if they're not that great or if they're not good. But I just got back from Lowe's, and it's a hardware store out here on the East Coast. I don't know if you have it all over the country, but I go to these stores and it seems like there's nobody there. Just like at the music store, I go to the counter and I'm like, where's the employees? Like, where's everybody at? I'm like, I just want to buy some strings, and I have to stand around for like an hour, while they help somebody. The dude behind the counter, he should probably say something like, hey, bro, I'll be with you in a few minutes. Just acknowledge me. Bartenders around here don't even do that, really. They should acknowledge the person and tell them that they're going to get to them in a moment. But they don't do that. It seems like they have their hands full all the time. Even if there's just 4 or 5 people at the bar. No, baby, ve para allá. Ve con tu mami. ¿Quieres sentarte aquí? My daughter's over here, wants some attention. So I went to Lowe's and I was trying to get some help, but there's it's like a ghost town concerning employees, that is. There's no employees to be seen anywhere. But I figured if I started sticking stuff in my pockets, that all of a sudden that they would turn up or that they would acknowledge that. It's like, welcome to Lowe's, where we won't help you, but we will arrest you for shoplifting. Like, how did you see that? I didn't see anybody around. Well, we could see you on the cameras, so you couldn't see me standing there in the aisle wanting some help with the stuff that I was there to do. So that's what happened. My apologies to Sofia. My apologies to you. Even though it's not my fault this time. It's just still regretful. It's JA's fault. JA, please just don't charge me for my light bill next month, because this is your fault and I lost this podcast. And now Sofia is probably upset and she's never going to come back, and she's going to be like, we're cursed, because she might be kind of superstitious. I'm not really superstitious, but we'll see. I love you all. Peace. Bye.